Welcome to DIY for Homeowners by Mother Daughter Projects. I'm Steph.
I'm Vicki.
And today we are just gonna chat. We are actually here in my Lego room slash craft closet. We actually made this about 2 years ago. We haven't filmed in here since, and I feel like, why haven't we? We are today. And today we're gonna talk about the Cricut Maker. And you may be saying, what is that? Well, Cricut is actually a brand, and they make a lot of different machines and products, and their machines normally are for cutting different materials like vinyl or paper. And the Maker, well, that's a little special. So let's ask our little assistant here what that is.
What year did the Cricut Maker come out?
Here's something I found from the article Cricut on Wikipedia. The Cricut Maker is a new line released on August 20th, 2017, designed to cut thicker materials such as balsa wood, basswood, non-bonded fabric, leather, and felt.
Well, you know what sold us on this machine was it cuts wood.
It actually cuts over 300 materials, which was very intriguing to us. And that's what this is right here. This is the Cricut Maker, and I'll open it up so you can kind of see what it looks like here. So we bought this back in December, and to go back 2 years, we actually became familiar with it 2 years ago. We saw that they released it, and we were very curious about it because we're not super crafty people, but we like the idea of all the different materials you can cut with it because it reminded us of like a very simple CNC machine. And if you don't know what CNC machines are, it's basically like a machine that has a router attached and a computer that tells that router how to cut something out. And it's really cool, and there's a lot of cool stuff like that in our space, but we weren't ready for that. And the Cricut Maker seemed like a good way to get familiar with that without having to invest in like a huge CNC machine. And so we were curious about it, but I had experience with another brand of these kind of machines in the past that it was not a good experience. It didn't work well, it was hard to cut, it was very frustrating, and so that was what I was thinking, oh, it's probably not gonna work.
Well, we actually became familiar with Cricut, the brand, probably maybe 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. We'd gone to a conference, and I actually took a class on it because I was, you know, I knew about these machines, never had touched one. I thought, let me just take the class. So I did. It was not a good experience. It was not. They did not set me up for success. I found it very frustrating. It wasn't the machine. It was, I don't know what it was, but I liked the end results, but it was like, I don't know if that's something I want to do because I felt like the learning curve on it was really, really high.
Yeah. So both of us had 2 negative experiences with machines like this, and so that's why we never got one. But then just recently, both of us had independently thought, let's just buy it, let's do it.
Let's just go for it, let's just do it.
Mom actually said it out loud. She said, hey, I think, you know, we might want to buy the Cricut Maker. And I was like, yes, me too, I've been thinking about that, but I wasn't sure you wanted to get one because of your experience. And so we both decided, let's do it. We bought it, and right away the setup process was really straightforward. They set us up for success right away, plugged it into the computer, and Mom actually thought she was going to take lead on this product.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
So usually one of us like takes lead on a new tool, and like
the scroll saw.
Yeah,
is a good example. I was the first one to use it, and I continue to use it. She has not touched it, and I sort of feel that way about this. She has learned to do it, she's mastered it, and it's like, why do I need to learn it when if I've got an idea, I can say, hey, Steph, you know, this is what I want, will you do that?
Yeah, and also I've had a lot of fun with it. It's been a lot of fun. I've bought a lot of different materials to try out, and I've tried a lot of different things. I've actually made this right here out of chipboard, which is basically like cardboard, and I just wanted to kind of try and see how that worked, and by doing that cut, and then also this just, you know, silly little castle here out of chipboard, by doing that I realized the thicker materials take a lot longer to cut, which is not a huge deal, but it took about like 3 hours to make this. And so by doing the test cuts and kind of test things, I can learn what takes longer, things I need to plan, how I need to plan it. But I just kind of set it up, and then I can watch TV and let it run, and it's very neat. It's very precise too, which is nice. But every time I make a cut, I learn something new. And this actually here, my name's Steph. You can see in this footage this morning, I was actually cutting this out of the front cover of a notebook that I had. I was gonna throw that cover away, and I was like, wait, I love this purple, and so I just cut out my name really easily. And it's just neat to experiment with different materials. Here you can see I made, the very first project I made was a vinyl cutout for Mac's food dish. I was adding a little part to it, and so I was like, oh, this would be cute. And then I'm running with that C-Mac theme, and so you can see I added C-Mac, well, you know, I added an emoji there, and I'm gonna do a C-Mac run and C-Mac sleep, which could be anywhere in my house. C-Mac sleep, that's what she does. But I've also made this right here. This is actually, so in my family we call Starbucks Starbooks, and story for
a long story from
it's a
Disney
cute
World.
story. It's a cute story. But I used balsa wood right here to cut out the letters, and the big circle is actually a big piece of vinyl, glitter vinyl, and so it's balsa wood and I attached it just to regular plywood. And you can see I was able to do, and then the Starbucks logo is made out of green vinyl. So I was able to do a lot of materials in this one piece. And I'm also excited to try it. We've gotten it, but we haven't tried it out yet. There is some wood veneer here that I've gotten from Cricut. Walnuts, cherry, and and maple. So I'm excited to try those out. We also got, this is stencil vinyl. So this is like if I wanted to cut a stencil out and then we want to attach it to wood, or
we could use it for a scroll saw. You could make a design that you want and put it on your wood that you're going to scroll saw. Because you do that normally.
Yeah.
You put down a piece of vinyl and then your cutout, which you're going your design, and this is all in one step. So
yeah.
that has applications for using it on another machine.
And so we'll show you ways to use it, things that it can do. We actually are going to use it, I've already used it in a project that we're going to be sharing. It's literally right next to me. We're going to share that probably next week, and you'll see how I got to use it there. And I was very happy with the clean lines and really nice, precise cuts that I was able to do with the machine and not have to like do by hand.
Well, let's talk a little bit about supplies, because you showed
Yes.
several things and they're all Cricut branded, but what have you found out about other kinds of vinyls and materials?
Yeah, so there's a lot of companies that make things that work with the Cricut. So that was one of my concerns. One of my concerns was, you know, once we buy the Cricut, we're gonna have to buy all their Cricut products. We're gonna be in their little ecosystem and we're not gonna be able to cut anything else. Well, that's not the case. There's a lot of brands that make other brands of vinyl, and we've tried different brands. They all work well, they cut well. There's presets in the software that comes with the Cricut. Free software, super easy to use, like no learning curve at all. And you can cut other things. So you can cut other vinyl, other brands of vinyl. I also, like I said, I cut my name out of just cardboard that I had left over, I was gonna throw away or recycle. And I was able to cut that on here. And the software is super intuitive to use, and you can move around like my name, I needed it in the certain purple square on the front cover of the book because there was only like a certain place I needed. I was able to move that in the software really easily, tell it where I wanted to cut, and it did exactly that. All my hesitations that I had, like none of those were true. Like this has been great. You don't have to, we have definitely bought a lot of stuff from Cricut, because that was one thing we learned is like the best place to buy Cricut products was from Cricut.com. Lots of good deals, lots of, they have everything available there. So we have actually bought a lot from there. We've gone to our local craft stores and Joann's, Michael's, and Hobby Lobby. My favorite was Michael's selection. Just gotta put that out there. In our local area, that might be different in other areas, but they even had like a big Cricut banner. I was very impressed. And they had these. This was the only place that I saw the actual like extra materials they had at Michael's. So I was impressed, but they all had it, and they all had some kind of selection, which was nice. I also want to show you over here, I've actually put together a Cricut cart. And so for me, I wanted to have quick access to the Cricut. If I wanted to make something, I wanted to be able to have it right at the ready. So I have this cart sitting in my living room that I could just plug right into my computer if I need to print something, if I want to cut something out. And this is actually an IKEA cart that I just put the Cricut on top, and then I have 2 bins below where I can keep other materials, and then I can keep vinyl materials. And then I have little magnetic hangers that I got from Harbor Freight that I hang some other supplies on.
As Steph said, she's tested a lot of different materials, and I think that's one of the things that people maybe get a little discouraged, because you may test something and it may not turn out and you have to throw it away. But I think that's part of the learning, is to go ahead and jump in there, experiment with your materials, and find out what works, what doesn't work. And one of the things we found out that works sometimes and doesn't work sometimes is working with wood. Now, we found out that the wood has to be absolutely flat. So here you can see it adhered beautifully. On this side, not so much, because there's a little bit of curve to this. And same thing here. This went on beautifully, and back here we probably used too much heat. Got some wrinkling.
My goal is really to find the best way of attaching vinyl or heat transfer vinyl to wood, and so that's what all of this kind of testing was. We did try engraving aluminum. This is anodized aluminum. It has like color on it, and that worked really well. I just got it a little, it was a little off center, but we've found things that we're just trying to test materials. We don't know exactly what application we're going to use them for, but we like to kind of try them out and see.
So then we'll be ready for when we want to use it someplace.
Yeah, then we're ready when we need to use
Yes.
it. And then every time I do something, I learn some kind of new skill, a new way of like removing like the extra materials from things. So if there's something that you've been curious about the Cricut Maker, that you wanted to see if something would work or anything like that, let us know in the comments. We're not going to overwhelm you with Cricut projects, but we'll probably incorporate them here and there depending on, you know, if it makes sense for what we're working on. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, let us know below. And if you'd like to support us, please give us a thumbs up on this video and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Do you want to see more Cricut stuff? Do you want to know more about it? Let us know. All right, see you next time.
Bye. Bye.
And today, we're just gonna chat with you. We're just gonna talk. I was gonna say talk and then I said chat and then it sounded weird. Talk chat. That's not a thing. Okay.